The Imperial Royal Guard in the original Star Wars trilogy speaks no lines. You see them in Return of the Jedi. They stand on either side of the Emperor's throne. They wear red robes. They hold force pikes. They are the most visually iconic personal bodyguard unit in the franchise, and at no point in the original trilogy does a single one of them open his mouth. George Lucas modeled the Galactic Empire explicitly on fascist aesthetics. He said so in multiple documented interviews. The guards were designed to embody that. Faceless, scarlet, ceremonially lethal. The prop department made their pikes functional weapons. The casting agency hired performers built for physical menace and put them inside identical, featureless masks. The screenwriters gave them no dialogue, no names, and no backstory. On December 10, 1997, Dark Horse Comics published issue 1 of a 6-part limited series and gave one of them all 3. His name is Kir Kanos. He is the last surviving member of the Emperor's Royal Guard. He spends the run hunting down the Imperial warlords who betrayed his oath to the man on that throne. He kills his quarry. He kills people who try to stop him. He becomes, by the final issue, the most internally coherent protagonist in the entire Star Wars franchise, a man whose moral certainty about a dead emperor is simultaneously the most disturbing and the most structurally defensible character work the series has ever produced. Disney has been making Star Wars for 12 years. They haven't produced a character like this. Tonight, I want to tell you why. The concept itself was rejected once before. The idea of building a story around the Guard's mythology had been pitched to Lucasfilm before and turned down. They were uncomfortable, the record shows, with any mythology surrounding the Guards at the time. The concept sat for 14 years. In 1989, West End Games published the Imperial Sourcebook, written by Greg Gordon, which gave the Guards their institutional identity for the first time in the expanded universe. They were designated Sovereign Protectors, selected from the Stormtrooper Corps for exceptional performance, then subjected to specialized training on the isolated planet Yinchor. 8 years before Crimson Empire, the EU already had an architecture for what these men were. In 1997, Stradley sat in a brainstorming session with publisher Mike Richardson. The 14-year-old concept came back out. Lucasfilm approved the pitch. Richardson and Stradley co-wrote all 6 issues, with Paul Gulacy, Marvel's primary artist on the 1970s martial arts series Master of Kung Fu, on pencils, and P. Craig Russell on inks. The series opens on Feda, a remote Imperial world, with a cloaked figure killing a cantina full of stormtroopers. The real beginning is in the flashbacks. The Imperial Royal Guard Academy sits on Yinchor, in an arena the recruits call the Squall, a combat floor suspended over a bottomless pit. The training cohort starts at 44. Kir Kanos and Karnor Jax are the standouts. They spar constantly. Both understand what's required. What's required is demonstrated early, in the most precise character-establishing sequence in the run. Palpatine visits the academy. He brings Vader. The best recruit, a man named Burr Danid, is brought forward. Vader duels him, overpowers him with complete ferocity, and throws his body into the depths of the Squall. Kanos watches. The lesson lands. Mere perfection isn't enough. The final test comes when Palpatine orders Kanos and his training partner, his closest friend, Lemet Talk, to fight to the death in the Emperor's chamber. Kanos kills Talk. He runs to the body to apologize. Vader stops him, informs him that he should never regret a command from the Emperor, then ignites his lightsaber and cuts a scar across Kanos' helmet to reinforce the point. Kanos carries that scar for the rest of his life. So does the series. After Palpatine's final death, at Onderon at the hands of Luke Skywalker, the surviving Royal Guards return to Yinchor for 10 days of mourning. On the 10th day, a badly injured guardsman arrives with intelligence. Karnor Jax had bribed the Emperor's personal physician to sabotage Palpatine's remaining clone bodies. The physician was captured by rebels, and he named Jax as the man who paid him. Before the guards can act, stormtroopers arrive. The massacre is brief. Dozens die. 2 survivors draw lots for who escapes. Kyle Hanid covers Kanos' retreat. The building explodes. Kanos is the only loyal Royal Guard left. He swears a blood oath. He travels to Feta. He adopts the alias Kenix Kill, an anagram of his name in the secret battle language of the Royal Guard, and enters the criminal underworld. On Feta, he encounters Mirith Sin, New Republic commander, Alliance intelligence agent, and leader of the guerrilla resistance cell operating on the planet. She is the only character across the entire run who treats Kanos as a person rather than a threat, an asset, or a symbol. His response, repeatedly, is to leave. Richardson said in Star Wars Insider that he patterned Crimson Empire after the Japanese tale of the 47 Ronin. Not the specific story, but the structure. A lord dies, his retainers swear vengeance against the betrayers, and what that oath costs them is the engine of the narrative. Kanos is a Ronin. His lord is dead. The oath is still running. The final confrontation between Kanos and Jax happens in the Squall on Yinshore, the same arena where Kanos learned what the Guard required. Richardson and Stradley are deliberate about this. Gulasi, who spent a decade at Marvel drawing warriors in motion, renders the sequence with the economy of someone who has drawn this kind of fight his entire career. Jax offers Kanos a place ruling the Empire. Kanos declines and attacks. When it's over, when Jax is dying on the blade, Kanos condemns him as a traitor and leaves him to die. New Republic agents had wanted Jax alive as a political prisoner. Kanos executes him anyway. Sin's second-in-command rushes to stop it and is killed in the same motion. Sin swears a blood oath against Kanos for what he's done. He leaves. There are others to find. Crimson Empire 2, Council of Blood, ran from November 1998 to April 1999. Crimson Empire 3, Empire Lost, launched October 2011 and concluded April 25, 2012, 6 months before Disney announced its acquisition of Lucasfilm. All 18 issues existed and were in print before a single Disney-era decision was made about the property. Across all 3 series, the pattern holds. Kanos doesn't soften. By the end of Empire Lost, having killed the final antagonist and sustained critical injuries, he fakes his death, accepts a posthumous pardon from the New Republic, and begins a new life with the help of Baron Dasta. He leaves his Crimson Royal Guard robes as a parting gift for Mirith Sin. He doesn't say goodbye in person. Not rebellion, not redemption, not service. He stops, on his own terms. The Slings and Arrows graphic novel guide, reviewing the final volume, called Kanos one of the most interesting characters the franchise had produced. Now the prosecution. Disney has made Star Wars for 12 years. In that time, Imperial characters have been handled in 3 modes. The first is cartoon villain. Armitage Hux opened The Force Awakens with genuine menace. His Starkiller Base speech is one of the sequel trilogy's few chilling moments. By The Last Jedi, he's played for laughs. By The Rise of Skywalker, his entire arc resolves as he'd rather help the Resistance than let Kylo Ren win. Ideology stripped for personal grievance. From zealot to informant across 3 films, not because the character developed, but because the writers needed a plot function, and he was available. The second mode is aesthetic without interiority. Allegiant General Enric Pride in The Rise of Skywalker is Disney's closest attempt at a Kanos-adjacent character. An old Imperial loyalist with a direct connection to Palpatine, born 27 BBY on Alsacan per the Visual Dictionary tie-in. His backstory, his loyalty's texture, his specific relationship to the Old Order, none of it makes it into the film. On screen, he's a function. He deduces Hux is the spy, he kills Hux, he dies. The interiority exists in a supplement that most of the audience never opens. The third mode is visual mystique without institutional history. The Knights of Ren are the clearest example. Masked, dark-side warriors loyal to a single figure. Their design registering in the same ceremonial register as the Royal Guard. But they have no academy, no selection process, no code given weight in the films. Their backstory, when it arrives in The Rise of Skywalker, is retroactive and minimal. Gilad Pellaeon, who in Legends is one of the franchise's most fully realized Imperial officers, the captain of the Chimera under Thrawn, the man who signs the peace treaty with the New Republic, appears in The Mandalorian Season 3 as the Grand Admiral's representative to a council scene. He is there to be Thrawn's placeholder in a room Thrawn doesn't occupy. What's missing in every case is the same thing: a character whose imperial loyalty is the moral center of the story, not the thing the narrative eventually requires him to discard. Disney's resolution options for imperial characters are structurally limited. The character must defect, or he must be comic, or he must die without interiority. Kanos does none of these. His oath outlives the oath giver. The vengeance he pursues isn't for power or survival. It's for fidelity itself. That moral architecture requires the narrative to take the Imperial's loyalty seriously on its own terms. And that's the step Disney's institutional framework can't take. The Legends publishing program took it in 1997. With Paul Gulacy's photorealistic line work trained on a decade of martial arts combat pages. With Richardson and Stradley's Ronin revenge structure, built from a 14-year-old pitch that Lucasfilm once rejected. With 18 issues across 15 years, the last of which reached print 6 months before the acquisition. At the end of Crimson Empire 1, Kanos leaves Sin on Yinchor to bury her dead friend. She asks where he's going. His answer? There are others. Not a hero's journey, not a villain's downfall. A man defined by an obligation that can't be satisfied, chosen freely, pursued without apology. The complete series, Star Wars Crimson Empire 1 through 3, Dark Horse Comics, December 1997 through April 2012, 18 issues, is collected in the Crimson Empire Saga hardcover and in the Star Wars Legends Epic Collection, The New Republic, Volume 6. Both are currently in print. Details in the pinned comment. Crimson Empire 1 to 3, Dark Horse Comics, 1997 to 2012, 18 issues. One of approximately 200 orphaned EU vignettes that Disney does not have the institutional capacity to make and won't allow anyone else to. We will be back to the rest of them. Subscribe if you want to be there.